The Jeffrey Dahmer case. Jeffrey Dahmer, the killer who ate his victims. Have you ever heard of a killer who didn't just murder people, but chopped up their bodies, stored them in his fridge, and even ate their flesh? This is the story of Jeffrey Dahmer, a man who looked normal from the outside, but inside, he was a monster. Early life and hidden darkness. Jeffrey Lionel Dahmer was born in 1960 in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. As a child, he seemed quiet, but something was off. He was fascinated by dead animals. He collected bones and performed strange experiments. His father once joked that Jeffrey was a bone scientist, but no one imagined that one day he'd be playing with human bones. The first kill, the beginning of horror. In 1978, at just 18 years old, Jeffrey picked up a hitchhiker. They spent some time together, but when the man tried to leave, Jeffrey hit him with a dumbbell and killed him. He dismembered the body and buried the remains in the woods. It was just the beginning. A Trail of Death, 1987 to 1991. From 1987 to 1991, Dahmer lured young men from bars, streets, and bus stops. He offered money, drinks, or photos, then drugged them. Once unconscious, he would kill them, dismember their bodies, collect their skulls, sometimes cook and eat their flesh. When police raided his apartment, they found a human heart, liver, and muscle tissue in his fridge. He called it dinner. The disturbing psychology. Dahmer later claimed he didn't want to lose his victims. He wanted them to stay with him forever. That's why he kept body parts, and even ate some, believing it made them a part of him. It wasn't just madness, it was calculated cruelty. Police mistake that cost a life. One night, a 14-year-old boy escaped Dahmer's apartment, drugged, bleeding, and confused. Neighbors called the police, but incredibly, the police handed the boy back to Dahmer, thinking it was a lover's quarrel. Just hours later, the boy was dead. It was a horrifying failure of the system. Finally caught on July 22, 1991, a man named Tracy Edwards escaped from Dahmer's apartment. He flagged down police and led them back. Inside the apartment, a nightmare was waiting. The smell of death, photographs of mutilated bodies, and a fridge filled with human remains. Even the police were shaken. Trial, sentence, and death. Dahmer confessed to everything. He was convicted of 15 murders and sentenced to 957 years in prison. But in 1994, just 3 years later, he was beaten to death in prison by another inmate. Some called it justice. Others said it was too quick an end. Part 8. Media, documentaries, and pop culture narrator. Jeffrey Dahmer's story has inspired books, films, and documentaries, the most famous being the 2022 Netflix series, Monster, The Jeffrey Dahmer Story. People still wonder, how did he get away with so much for so long? How did no one notice? Questions that still haunt. Is society failing to recognize people like Dahmer before it's too late? Could the next monster be hiding in plain sight? In your neighborhood? Your building? Maybe even next door? These are the questions we must ask, because the silence around evil can be deadly. Final message. Narrator. If this story shocked you, remember, it's not just a tale. It's real. 17 families lost their sons, and a community lost its peace. For more real and gripping crime stories, subscribe to our channel. We'll be back with another chilling case. Until then, stay alert, stay safe, and keep asking questions.